So it's going to be Parting versus Vibe. I don't think these guys need any introduction, but I'll do it anyways. Parting, I believe it was 2012 world champion, an amazing StarCraft 2 player overall, has been revolutionary in the game, has been very active in Stormgate as well as Battle Aces, and I think very oriented towards the future. Had a massive stream actually on Twitch, and he's here now to compete in these new games. It just takes a minute for my OBS to load. And he's going to be going up against Vibe. Vibe is a legendary player here in StarCraft 2. Managed to beat the likes of Flash and other gods. Also has a stream. Check out his stream. It's a really chill place to hang out in. And to go into this game right now, it's going to be Parting with Scorpion Hornet versus, I think, Scorpion Recall here for Vibe. Who's in the top right?
Bear with me here, as this is the first time I'm actually observing in Battle Aces here, so excuse the crazy camera work and everything. I'll do my best here with this one, but I'm curious to see how this ends up going. I mean, the recalls here out of Vibe is definitely something that I personally prefer going for, so I'm curious to see if he ends up getting any actual good damage here, or it's just going to be forced to be defending the entire time, basically.
So Parting is pouncing on this third base. Now, Scorpion Recall can fight your own Scorpions here, but you got to be careful. These Recalls are actually on the outside. You want those to be behind the Scorpions, and so we already have 3 Recalls going down, and now 4. More Recalls are going to come in, but again, the angle is really bad, and it feels like Parting can continue to reinforce. We have a ton of Scorpions streaming across the map here to try to hit this position. The base is at 50%. Meanwhile, Parting's got his own base that's going to be finishing up in a little bit here. He's scrambling, Vibe is, to get more Recalls in. It looks like he's got enough, especially with the Recalls behind the Scorpions. You're much more likely to take a fight, but it does seem like Parting has a considerable amount more. Vibe's going to be reinforcing that, and Parting's going to go for a positional move here. He's going to try to punish the fact that Scorpions and Recalls, they're sort of mobile, but they're more positional than actually mobile and fluid. So the Scorpions are going to hit over at this expansion right now, and we're going to see if this actually softens the position at the third, because this looks like a setup.
Yeah, this is one of the big strengths that you do have with the Scorpions. Of course, they're extremely fast. You can run really far away and get them out of position. But the benefit of Recalls, obviously, is that you can just easily reposition between the 2 bases without really having to think too much about it. Just make sure you recall over to the correct base, whether you're getting attacked, and you can easily flank or just surprise the opponent trying to out-multitask you. And it seems like Vibe is actually kind of pushing Parting away for now, but Parting himself is really trying to keep control of this middle of the map as much as possible and just throwing things on the other side as much as possible to really pull Vibe apart here.
Yeah, another Recall here. One thing I want to point out with Recalls, they're actually pretty tanky, and they do quite a bit of damage, but they're slow. So you usually have to play a lot of deflecting, a lot of kind of repositioning until eventually you can get a big Recall push. Now, I think Vibe may be overextended here. This little red or orange thing in the middle of the map, you can't walk over that. So he's actually trapped in this position. More reinforcements are going to come down. The same is true for Parting. But it seems like Vibe might actually have enough.
Yeah, he's just blasting through this, surprisingly. I thought he was like totally surrounded there and was just going to die, but it seemed like the range of the recall is still doing pretty good for him there. And it looks like we also have some advanced recalls coming out of here from Parting. So that's going to definitely be a nice tech advantage for now. And it seems like Vibe actually also has the same thing teched up as well with some airships to go against the Dragonflies as well. So the air battle should not really be going in Parting's favor if that ends up happening. But we got a nice recall coming in with all the things from Vibe. But, I mean, he's not got much here, but the rest of it is all in this little flank as well set up from the other side of the map. And that's going to force Parting on home.
It's a really interesting comp here to see the advanced recalls paired with Hornets on the map. The Hornets may just be a solution for anti-air. Can advanced recalls shoot air?
I'm not sure.
I actually am not sure. I haven't messed with this unit, to be totally honest. Sorry, guys. This is still a very new game for us.
Yeah.
He's going to reposition over here. It's a pretty big push from Vibe. And, you know, if Vibe can actually crush this position, that actually could be game.
I mean, he's going to target down the base, and that's just going to instantly get denied here. Parting still does have a 4th base along with Vibe as well, so that's still putting Vibe up a base, but taking down the middle is extremely good for him. That opens up so much opportunity now for Vibe to move around the map, but Parting is going to try to take the initiative as well and going to the bottom side and take this out while Vibe is stuck on the top, but it's recalls. You can easily just reposition and deal with any type of harassment that's going to come at you.
And this is the punish. Right? You know, that 3rd base is going to be retaken for now, but it's very difficult for there to be any counterplay here from Parting. Now, the combination of the Scorpions and advanced recalls here are going to be pretty handy for trying to push into this spot. The recalls are going to have to continue to retreat, but we're starting to see a pincer get set up here, and I think this is going to force Parting to head back once more.
Yeah, nice attempt to try and to get some stuff down on the bottom, but it's not going to work. And now we've got mortars coming out here from Vibe, teching over to the Foundry as well. That's really going to put a lot of pressure on Parting here, as he really doesn't actually have anything to deal with these mortars right now. He's going to try to... Actually, he's not even going to get Fireflies and try and go for some anti-air, because there's already some anti-air units set up for Vibe as well. So he's got airships here to prepare for that, and now he's just going to send it right down the middle. Parting is literally nothing. He's forced into a base trade situation to try and deal any amount of damage or cause any amount of chaos, but I don't think it's really going to do any much when you can just recall back home with half the army, and everything else is going to come back just a little bit after to get a nice little surround and flank, and that's going to be that. Vibe takes the first game.
Interesting. You know, you could see in that last game we had that third base just get knocked out, and he was never able to reclaim it. And because of the recalls, I think the head on my chair just fell off.
All right. My God.
That's how good that game was.
What the
While we were casting that, I could feel my chair moving. I'm like, oh my God, Battle Aces, what's going on? So hold on. Can I fix this? What just happened here?
Okay, well, have fun fixing that. This is now going to be the Tasteless Fixie
Wait a minute.
a chair
Is this
stream.
Attach on here? How does this... Oh my God.
Oh my God.
All right, we're going to just not use this thing. Okay. No, yeah, right at the end of that game, I started I was like, is the chair falling over? Something feels weird. So, yeah. Anyways, about that game, no way to get that third base when the push was able to come out over and over and over again. Vibe basically stayed patient, kept recalling, kept deflecting attacks, and at the very end, was able to tech into mortars. They actually stayed low tech for quite a while. It's been interesting to see when people try to tech into stuff. Oh. Yeah, we're going to get the score there on screen.
Excellent.
Yeah, in my experience, I've had some games I can take a third base, and then other games where I tech... Oh, I got to pause. Sorry. Pausing alerts.
Scared me, man.
Thank you for the sub,
God.
guys. Your subs are appreciated. Normally I have alerts off. We're doing a tournament. Yeah, I have games where I can take a third base sometimes, then tech. Other games, I feel like I have to get my tech up on my second base. I have had some games where I tech on one base. It seems a little bit cheesy, but you can win games with it that way.
I mean, we've got that coming up right now, actually. Vibe is going for a one-base tech here, going into King Crab and Mortar. Likely to go for a King Crab rush here.
He's going for Mud Crab. This
Nice.
is my build, no doubt. He's copied this from my stream.
Excellent, yeah.
So this is a pretty strong way to play. I do think it's weak versus recalls. I feel like you can't bust with King Crab versus recalls, but I could be wrong. By the way, you can basically poke for free here.
Yeah, it's a nice scout to confirm that it will actually be the King Crabs coming out. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, but you could go for a Mortar all in, I suppose, because it is pretty hard to deal with them. But King Crabs is the most likely option, but it's nice to get that scout off anyway, and the recalls do allow you that ability there, as you can just get right back on home for free. Recalling yet again to make sure he's out of harm's way, and the King Crabs are going to come in here. Do you target the base or the workers here is my question.
Well, in my experience, I always go towards their main and have one King Crab kill all the workers, but this is a different approach. I guess this punishes the fact that the recalls can't really deny you from taking that base, so I think the ideas here from Vibe are pretty good. Now, there's going to be one more recall he can do. He did save up into Dragonflies. So Dragonflies can fight ground. They're not as fast at killing stuff as Butterflies are. And I think what he wants to do is swing the game. No, never mind. He's going to come back and actually try to defend this. I thought he might try to go across the map and just kill his opponent's workers.
Yeah, Vibe's going to try to tech up into airships at this point to try and counter these Dragonflies, because otherwise he literally has no anti-air available right now, actually. He needs these up as soon as possible, because they're just going to send right across the map. They're extremely fast. They can take it on workers very quickly as well. So this looks, for now, like a pretty decent spot for Parting, because this airship transition is not going to be out whatsoever in time to deal with all of the worker harassment.
Yeah, I mean, the counterpunch here is pretty brutal. There's going to be some Scorpions that come back, but obviously with recalls, there's only one easy solution, so he sends that back home. The tech's almost done, but so are all the workers here for Vibe, so he's going to have effectively no economy. It
Literally
can come
none.
back. If you haven't played Battle Aces before, the workers automatically remake. It doesn't cost you anything other than time. But obviously, with a nearly full main base, there's going to be a lot of resources to drink up here for partying. And I don't really feel like Vibe has the tools available to do a whole lot to try to counter this.
Oh my god, he's even picking off the airships with the Dragonflies with nice micro there and actually just isolating them. And that's going to be that. Parting taking a nice win as well to even the series up.
You can update the score now if that's easier.
That's a good idea.
Very cool. It was a very different game.
This one?
Yeah, this is the button. Sorry. One base strategy. It seemed like it almost worked. I haven't quite seen the King Crab Rush used to take out the expansion. I know I've messed with that rush a bunch. I find you just go on top of the workers in the main and have one King Crab kill all the other workers, and you're good. But yeah, this means we're tied up 1-1, so it's a close series so far. Again, it is a best of 5. And as far as rules go, by the way, we don't really have any like pick ban system. I wouldn't be surprised if that's implemented in this game later on. Whether that be for a system where you'd have like a couple different decks you show up with, like Hearthstone, and then you try to deny certain decks in that sense, or you'd have a pick ban system where you would deny specific units from decks.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anything like that. I don't know if that'll be a thing in the game later on as well. But what we do allow the players to do is assemble any kind of deck you want in between each game. So you can use the same deck as before, or you can do something different.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I do like the idea as well of a lot of these tournaments that are maybe going to come out eventually that could just have different types of ban rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Someone that I saw someone mention something as well in one of the chats at one point saying maybe do something where the player that loses can then ban one of the units from the winner's deck to then like make it so that they have to constantly change what they're doing and whatnot and stuff like that, but they don't have to change theirs until they lose, kind of a thing.
It does seem like this is a game where there's probably going to be another game outside of the little fights you have inside of this game.
Yeah.
There could be like a meta game of denying, just like you see in Dota, where they want to ban a certain hero. It's not that different from StarCraft where we ban certain maps.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but we don't have that, just so you know.
Yeah.
Now, this game, it's going to be Gunbots from Parting, which, compared to Vibe, it's going to be Scorpion and Recall. We've also seen Wasp Recall, which seems pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of these Gunbot games turn into pushes. If you played a lot of StarCraft 2 Terran, this is probably going to be the composition you're going to like the most. I find it challenging because I'm bad with this composition. But if you're just endlessly microing Stim Marines, it's pretty scary because if you start to do damage like we're seeing a little bit here, it can start to snowball. Remember that the Gunbots have only so many, I guess, stims or charges or boosts or whatever you want to call it.
Overclock is the official word for it.
Thank you. Only so many overclocks. It's basically 3, and then it takes a while to regen it. So this loses its momentum probably after this last overclock.
The thing is, though, is that you will start getting more waves coming in afterwards, so you still do have then another fresh set of recall or cooldowns on the new set, so you can still kind of do some micro. And the amount of time it takes to charge back the first overclock ends up actually coming back in time where you can kind of do this on end for the most part. It looks like now finally that first set just did run out of their overclocks, and now it's only the second set doing it, but that's all that you need apparently because Parting's micro is just so on point, able to completely negate the recall damage. And I mean, there's just so little you can do as the recall player in this situation when you're just getting completely micro-diffed.
It does seem like recall players just die in this moment. I think it's almost like their ability ends up punishing them from ever coming back because they have to try to spam recall into that third base to save it, and the result is that they overextend. Mm-hmm. We'll see if Five tries to play this out. He is at Tier 2 tech. And he is going to have bombers.
I've never actually seen this unit in the current iteration. It's almost never gone for it. Oh my god!
What?
Absolutely slamming it, but he doesn't have enough after the fact, and that's going to be a GG out of him. Parting going 2-1.
That was impressive, the Gunbot push. I did see they had a buff on the bombers. It's also a unit I haven't messed with. I feel like I've played with about half the units, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But that was wild. So right now, Parting up 2-1. Obviously, if he gets a third win, he will be victorious and be going to the round of 4. We'll see if there's any way that Vibe can fight back. It's too bad Vibe died the way that he did. Recalls, I think the Gunbot has like a little bit of an edge. I think it's like a 6-4 fight if both players are controlling it well. But, yeah, I mean, you start to do enough damage, and it just spikes. And, of course, Parting takes the third base behind that. So, you know, once he kills your third and you're on 2 bases, he's on 3, I mean, there's just not a lot you can do.
Yeah, I know. It gets really rough if you fall behind as the recall player because you don't really have any opportunity to find your way back into the game is what it feels like.
Yeah.
Because if you just start to get snowballed on, the most you can do is just to recall your units in one at a time as they spawn, and that doesn't really do anything because then they're just getting picked off one at a time out from a different base.
And you can just give the base up, but then you're playing at a huge disadvantage. I think I get it. He does everything he can to try to fight and actually win that, but in the end, yeah, Parting takes it.
Yep.
Many people are saying Parting is the best player in the game right now. Certainly seems like it.
No, he is extremely strong. He's just actually so good at this game. It's insane.
By the way, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We'll be putting more content out there on this channel. And also go to tastelessthreads.com. It's my merch shop. There's a lot of cool RTS, esports, gaming stuff. I'm sure you'll find something that you like. This game, it's going to be Recall Tech again. This is basically a repeat of Game 1. Hopefully not the same result here for Vibe's sake.
Dude, I thought for a second Vibe was like AFK and didn't realize that we started the game, but then I realized he did expand because he didn't make any units. I was like, oh no, please, Vibe.
I do that sometimes too. I'll expand. I'll just not make any units right away and just try to take a moment and like look at their deck and be like, okay, what's my plan?
Yeah. He's going to go for the recalls again, which is kind of interesting because he got absolutely smashed with it last time here. So perhaps just analyzing a little bit of micro differences he can do. Maybe he won't expand so quickly this time. Maybe
is he attacking?
He's going to go straight into tech this time instead of trying for that faster third. So definitely a little alteration here from Vibe to see if he can get some sort of mortar tech out to really negate these gunbots here. Because once mortars are on the field, these gunbots can't do anything.
Yeah, and gunbots are actually pretty brittle. I know they have, I think, just one more range than the recall, so you can basically always eke out a little bit more damage. But in this game, yeah, I guess you could just play a conservative route. I don't think there's any way that you can push, so I think he has to go for mortars into a third base.
Yeah, he's just going to be waiting, I guess, for the mortars to come out and then eventually take a third. Because if he tries to take a third even right now before the mortars are out, he's just going to have the gunbots completely microing against it, and he's not actually going to be able to defend it. So he has to stay fully on 2 bases here and just wait until he can finally get those mortars out, which is going to be right now, so he can get a couple of them and really start to push these gunbots away. That's what he's going to be trying to go for here, and Parting's going to be up to him to micro outside of the range of these mortars and still make it a challenge for Vibe to actually come out here and secure this third base, because for now he's still fully on an essentially all-in 2-base economy until he can really get this third saturated here.
Yeah, he'll need at least one more mortar down here to fully cover this. He might need one more in his second base. Usually one mortar and maybe like 1 or 2 recalls is enough to make them not want to try to poke into the back. Although I guess versus gunbots, you don't really have that kind of harass style you're dealing with. That's more something you have to deal with like blinks or scorpions or crabs. So he's starting to leapfrog. He's going to daisy chain these mortars together and try to basically get in range. But we've got some dragonflies out here, and I literally don't see any anti-air.
Yeah, the heavy hunters are pretty late to the party here. They're not actually getting here just yet. So now these dragonflies have free reign on these mortars. And if there's nothing here to defend them, they're actually kind of brittle to these dragonflies. Finally, now the heavy hunters come on up. We'll start to trade against those. But a lot of mortars taken out here already by Parting. And that's going to make it kind of hard for him to actually really pressure this third base, which he really needed to do, considering he was so far behind on the economy in the first place. His third base literally only just starting to get his resources mining right now. So now it's just these heavy hunters, which will also not even be able to defend against the dragonflies back over at his own base.
This might almost be over. I mean, the gunbot, yeah, that's going to be a GG. Gunbots get in. I actually think that he had a chance to take that game. But he needed the heavy hunters there earlier.
Yeah, I think he maybe just didn't notice that the tech switch was happening just so early, maybe.
Yeah.
Overmade some of the mortars, I think. Could have maybe balanced it a little bit better with a couple of heavy hunters in anticipation of the tech transition. Because, I mean, having a few mortars against the missile bots alone is enough, I think, to prevent them from diving on you, assuming you're layering them properly. So I feel like maybe could have tried to balance that a little bit earlier, could have maybe prevented him from dying so quickly.
I do feel like Battle Aces is a game of constant preemptive moves. I guess all RTS games are like that too, but like the moment you have the mortars coming out, you have to be like, okay, I don't have anti-air, I have to have that now. And if you can just match that, like I think he could have probably won that if he had made 4 mortars and then started making heavy hunters and then pushed out.